Hi and welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. So as promised in my previous video that I did Apple unit study, I've mentioned that I can make a tutorial on how to make these Apple peg dolls. They are very simple to make, so I will show you all the steps that you need and what you need to make these. To make the apple, you will need your felt. I would highly recommend going with 100% wool felt because you will see the difference in the wool. And I've tried just a normal standard felt you can get in your craft shops and it really does not compare. So highly recommend the 100% wool. So you can get them in the sheets like this. But I also recommend for little projects like this, going with the Filgers sheets of crafting felt, and these are just scrap pieces. So as you can see, you have a wide selection of different colors, and for little projects like this is absolutely fantastic. So perhaps for making apples, what you would need is your red of your choice. So for my apples, I've gone for this kind of red. Or you can go for a darker red or for more of a burgundy color. And that's what you need for, obviously the majority of the felt that you'll use is your red one, and then you can use your scraps to make the leaves and the stem. I've taken out this one from the little scraps pieces, but I think I will actually go with the brown, the darkest brown that I have. And other than that, you will need your watercolor paint. So I've got my one, very well used and loved, and you will obviously need your paintbrush and a little cup of water, and as well as that you also need your hot glue gun. You also need your ruler and your compass, and that's simply to make your apple shape and size that you will need. So now going on to how you want to choose the right size. So this peg doll is about 6.5 centimeters or so, and for this one the head, the apple size is about 3.5 centimeters and the head is about 2 centimeters. So the way I would go about doing these, and obviously we'll learn as we go because that's how I do things, is that going with the smaller one. This one is about 5 centimeters and the head size is about 1.5 centimeters. So therefore your apple size should be about 2.5 centimeters. So you want your circle to be about 2.5 centimeters or just about. So what you need to do is get your red felt of choice that you want to do, and we need 2.5 centimeters. So we need half of that for the compass. So let's test it out. That's definitely too small. It's just over 2. Let's do a little bit bigger. That's 2.5. And you basically want to have a look and see how your head fits. You can, obviously you cannot see it that well on the camera, but you can roughly see the circle here. And if you put your head, the neckline against the bottom of the line, you can see that there's quite a spare gap in here. So I think this is the right size. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. So that's 2.5 centimeters, and the head of my peg doll is about up, all the way up to the neckline is about 1.5 centimeters. So you roughly would want about 1 centimeter more than the size of your peg doll's head. So now what we need to do is cut that shape out with your scissors. That's definitely too small, so that won't work. I think I will go with 3.5 or 3 centimeters because that will definitely be too small. So we'll go with 1.5 centimeters. So perhaps rather than doing adding on a centimeter, you want to double the size of your peg doll head. So if it's 2 centimeters, you want to do 4 centimeters and so on. Hopefully this is going to be the right size. Yeah, that's definitely much better. Okay, so we'll stick with that size, and then we need another one of those, and I'll explain in a minute why. And then what you want to do is place one of your circles over the other. I wouldn't say halfway, but just under halfway. And then you basically just want to cut this shape out, so like a moon shape. And that will be the front of your apple. So as you can see, that's what we have now. So we have the moon and we have the circle. Now what we will need is a tiny little piece of the brown. I'll just try to cut the stem. And you can have a look if you're happy with that size, or if you, yeah, let's make it a bit thinner. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, and now let's move on to the leaves. So the way I've done this one is that it has the darker green for the bigger leaf and then a lighter green for the smaller leaf. So it's very simple to do this. All you need to do is just cut a leaf shape out of your felt. So there's a small one, and then you want a bigger one of this one, so it's a good idea to place that over and just cut that bigger. That way you will know and ensure that it is actually bigger than the previous one. So once you're done cutting with all of your felt, this is what you will have. So you have your circle, your moon, your stem, your leaf, and your bigger leaf. And then you just simply want to gather all of your pieces together. So you want to put the stem on your apple, and you want to take your thread and needle, knot it at the end, and then put your needle through the right in the middle. They're a little bit way too long, so I'll just cut those off. And then you want to get your stem and stitch it into place. This is just to ensure that when you're stitching the other parts of the front of the apple, that it doesn't come off, because it can be tricky. And doing it this way, you can just then avoid this area altogether, or just add a stitch or two. And then you want to add the bigger leaf on top, and again just stitch it over so that it's stitched in place. Just 2 or 3 stitches will do. Like I said, this is just to ensure that they will stick. And then the little leaf right over it. And once you have those stitched in place, you just want to bring your needle forward, place your front of the apple, and then bring your needle all the way down to the bottom of the front, so that you can stitch it all the way around. This little bit at the front, because it's so little, it can be tricky to catch, so just go a few times over so that the thread catches onto it. And even if it doesn't catch it properly, just don't worry about it, because it will be fine in the end. And then just go all the way around. And when you're done over here, you just want to poke your needle all the way to the inside, so that you can knot it and close it off and cut it off. I also like to just go a little bit deeper in, do a little stitch, and then loop it over to ensure that it's closed, and then you can securely securely fastened, so you can be sure that when you cut it off it will stay in place. Okay, so that's your apple done. Now what you need to do is paint the body of your apple peg doll. So as you can see, I use the brown, watered down brown for this one, and I will do the same for this one. And that's it. So one simple layer will do, there's no need to do anymore. You obviously want to go careful around the neckline. As you can see over here, I've gone a little bit too far, and that's because my paintbrush was a little bit too wet, so, but that's fine. You just don't want to make that mistake all over, all around. But that can still be fixed, because then this can be the back of the head, and then that will be covered with the apple, and this can be the front. So you then want to leave your peg doll for a minute so that it dries a little bit, so you can carry on working with it. And in the meantime, we'll get the hair ready. So for your hair, as I said before, this is the yarn I'm using, but you can use anything you have at home. And since this peg doll is obviously smaller than this one, I roughly need to have a look how long I want the hair to be. So you don't need a lot of strands, you just want about 4 strands or so of the same length. So I quite like the length of the hair like this, so it just goes like over her shoulders. So I'm simply gonna cut that and then make 4 cuts just like this one. So that's 4 cuts there, and I think I want to add a little fringe for this one too, so I'll cut smaller pieces. Let's see how 5 will look. So you then want to just gather them all together, just see if that's enough. I'm pretty sure it will be, but since this loop is right on the edge, I will trim those a little. Okay, that's better. So I'll leave that aside for the fringe. So these are the hair, this is the fringe, and now you want to figure out your eyes. And the eyes are probably the hardest part of the whole peg doll. And as you can see on this one, I created a little circles with like a little fling on each eye to the sides to create like almost like an eyelash or so. It's completely up to you what you want to do. I would really highly recommend that you just take your pencil, take your peg doll or a similar size peg doll, and just have a little play around and see what looks the best on the peg doll. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm taking the other peg doll and I'm just gonna test out what I like. Since this head is much smaller than that one, I just need to work with it and see what I like. Yeah, so I think I'll do the same. I'm just gonna go quite closer than that one and a little flicks on the ends. But I will first do them in pencil and then go over with the pens. My battery died, so I don't know where I lost you. I hope the footage is there, but if it's not there, I just made the eyes. So here's the peg doll with the eyes, and they are quite tiny at the minute. If I don't like how small they are once I put the head on and the hair, then I can always obviously go back and redo them and make them a little bit bigger. But for the time being, I want to keep them a little bit small because I like it how they look at the moment. So what we will do now is I'm heating up the glue gun and we will be attaching the hair, the fringe, and then the cap. And obviously I always try my best to make these peg dolls as non-toxic as possible, but there's just no other way of doing this without the hot glue gun for it to stay in place, or at least not so far that I've discovered. So that's the only thing that obviously isn't as healthy. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and we'll be attaching the hair now. So I will first attach the fringe, and then once the fringe is attached, we'll attach the hair, and then once the hair is attached, we'll then put the apple cap on, and as you can see, it is really cute. So once the fringe is in place and the hair are in place, it will be a very, very cute little apple peg doll. Okay, so I will place a cardboard over my table because I don't want to have any of the hot glue gun on it. So, as I said, I will just snip off this bit, which seems to be way too long. And you just want to put your fringe and just see where you want it to be. You obviously don't want it to cover her eyes, so this is roughly where I want it to be. I will lift that bit up, put a small glue amount here, and then just press it down, and that's the fringe done. And then once the fringe is down, you want to get all of your hair strands and you want to figure out the middle. You can always cut the hair if you get it wrong, but you just want to roughly do it in the middle. So I think that's about it. And then you want to put, once again, a small amount of glue here and just simply attach the hair. Just hold it for a second so that it attaches. You can obviously still play with it when it's still hot, but you don't want to burn your fingers. So that's her hair done. And you can test out once the glue is not so hot and sticky anymore. You can test out how it will look. So that looks super cute. I'm very happy with that. And then all you need to do is simply get your apple, put some hot glue gun glue right there, and then attach your apple to your head. Just want to squeeze it a few times just to ensure that it's all in place. And that's your little peg doll done. As I said, you can obviously still play around with the hair. So I can see that these strands are slightly longer than that side. So you can just simply, when this fringe is a bit long here, so you can just snip it all off. And that's your little peg doll done. Isn't it cute? So here's the big sister and here's the little sister. That is super cute. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and next up we will be doing mushroom unit study, but that's the next thing that I will be uploading. So that's the mushroom unit study video, and I also made some mushroom peg dolls. So as a sneak peek, I can show you what I've made. So these are the little mushroom peg dolls that I've made. There's a little bit more work that goes into these ones, but they are still quite simple, nothing major. And after the mushroom unit study video goes live, this is the next video I will be making for you. So if you like making peg dolls, be sure to subscribe and follow along. So as I said, I hope you liked it, and thank you for watching.